Welcome back. That's Marky Mark. That's Tank Top Mike, and I'm the Prince. And this is the week seat in review on the NAO Show. This week we find out that the unbeaten is beatable, and that a blind squirrel can find a nut, and that is Marky Mark. Welcome to the show, guys. Are you excited about what is ahead of us in week 7? I know I'm not.
I'm fine with week 7. I'm okay.
Oh, okay. The smile is because everything is burning right now on the Prince's lineup for week 7. So it is what it is. How are you doing today, Marky Mark?
Doing better until I heard that blind squirrel comment. Gotta tell you, man.
Well, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. Let's get into the matchup. All right, our first matchup is going to be what should have been the marquee matchup. Did I say that right, Marky Mark?
Marquee Mark matchup.
It was between our two fellow co-hosts, Tank Top Mike and Marky Mark, edging it out at the very last second against Tank Top Mike, and it was close, let me tell you. It came down to only 5 points. Marky Mark pulled out the win with 147, and Tank Top Mike brought in the heat, but was still hit at 143. All right, Marky, Tank Top Mike, tell us what you think about this lineup.
Well, it sucks scoring 143 and losing. Only would have lost to Mark and the underdogs, apparently. I wasn't too upset with my lineup, really. It's tough to, pinpoint where it went wrong. It's sort of a group effort, I think, because anybody could have scored, a 5 points. Eckler didn't have a touchdown at all. Claypool had 2 catches. Gesicki 115 yards, but no touchdown. Sutton did his job, though. If anybody, I'm going to blame T.Y. Hilton for coming back. He got hurt, so I guess I don't have to care anymore. Jacoby Myers had the touchdown called back. Could have been anything. Really, though, if you head to the league website, which, one of our league mates here tirelessly works on, because he works on things for this league so damn hard. It's incredible. I've never beaten Mark. I'm now 0-3. 0-3 in the NAO against Mark. So it was inevitable for me to lose this.
Inevitable.
Also,
all right,
5-0 is the best you can do in the NAO. Goofy started last year 5-0, so then lost in week 6, and so did I. So that's the best you can do.
Hey, 5-0 is nothing to bat an eye at. I think you should be proud with 5-0. Not if you go 5-5, but 5-0 is nice. All right, Marky Mark, what do you got here?
Yeah, definitely the luck was going my way. You and I watched that Jacoby Myers touchdown get called back. And I was like, oh, I really wanted Jacoby to get one, but not against me. So it had to be called back. I'm glad it was against me. So, yeah, I did have some other luck. Kyler Murray had 4 fumbles in his game, but he lost none of them. And fortunately, I'm a smart commissioner who doesn't have 1 point lost per fumble, just for a fumble. And it's only 2 points lost for a fumble lost. So I was pretty lucky not to lose any points on those 4 fumbles. I survived McLaurin and Godwin combining for 11.6 points. I mean, your 2 top guys, and that's all you get. Shouldn't win those games, but I got it this time. Thielen, he came through big with 24.30 points. And Tim Patrick shored up my flex for 11.70 points. So 2 recent trades kind of put me over the top when my top wide receivers weren't doing crap, And Goofy, I played the right defense. I played the right defense, and yeah, I needed all of that, man. It was that was a great matchup, and Mike ran into some bad luck. Tough luck kid finally had some good luck. So good to finally get in the W column, man. Way too late in the season.
Yeah, I really think it came down to the acquisition of Adam Thielen, and I think you're not taking into consideration that Tank Top Mike has been riding this 60-point wave of 3 running backs, and he didn't have AK this week. That may have been the difference. I think those 2 factors were the big factors that led to the first win for the tough kid.
Yeah, it was a good time to catch him without AK in there, and Eckler had a tough game against Baltimore, so definitely that helped me out a whole lot. And he still scored, almost 143 there. Yeah, so
I had the
that's
right
great.
defense too, finally.
All right, I'll take it over from here, and we'll move on to what I called the marquee Mark matchup last week, and that was the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, 138.34, and Mr. Swamp Dick, 128.34. So Mr. Dick said he had 5 turnovers on his roster. Now, I didn't check behind him, but it would seem that those 10 points would have left you guys in a tie, which is pretty interesting. Mike, start us
Well,
off.
Mixon had a fumble.
Still, though, that's why I gave the decimal points. You beat him by 10 points exactly. He said he had 5 turnovers. That 10 points would have left you in a virtual tie. So, Mike,
Actually, it's
start
pretty
us off on
incredible.
that one.
That would have been pretty cool. It would have been our first tie, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for Mr. Dick here, it was the pretty usual kind of showing. He had some guys underperform a little bit. I think sending Zach Moss instead of Singletary may be coming down the pipe soon. I think Zach Moss outsnapped Singletary again this week, so that's got to be tough for him to be looking at. It's also got to be tough to be looking at Hollywood Brown and Bateman getting more targets in the first week back. That's got to be a little rough. But, he puts together a pretty good team. I mean, anytime I know Cooper Kupp had a pretty big week, so Matthew Stafford had a pretty big week. But, man, I mean, you talk about me getting carried with my 60 points of running backs. He gets carried with his 60 points with just Derrick Henry every week. So, the only thing, at some point it's week 6. I think we can be done with can he do it all season. I don't think that there's any he did it too early, can he do it later. At this point, he's doing it till he's done, and I don't think he's going to be done anytime soon.
Yeah, I went into Monday night 60 points up, and I said, well, it's either going to be a Derrick Henry 60-point night or I'm going to get the win. And I went to sleep thinking I lost because I'm pretty sure Derrick Henry was thinking he was going to put up 60 points, let alone me. But looking at my lineup, I got carried by Earl Williams, the backup for CEH, because Kansas City magically found out how to use a running back properly. And they're like, oh, CEH isn't playing? Oh, we're going to run Williams like we should CEH. And look what he did. He had 22.4 points for me. I mean, I'm not going to be mad, but why can't we do that with CEH? I'm just saying. This was also one of the biggest weeks for my man Waddle, first round pick. He got Tua back, and he saw pay dirt twice on 10 targets. Most people are trying to get 7 to 8 targets a game. He's getting 10 out of 13. So hopefully the rest of his wide receiver core can keep up with what they do best, and that's be on the bench so he can catch all the balls. And we did kind of make a little point about a trade. I did move Tim Patrick for some running back depth, and that didn't do too bad for me. Got me 8.8 points. You kind of want to see more points out of Amari Cooper. He had an 8-point game, and CeeDee Lamb went off yet again with a game-winning touchdown, let alone all of his other points But I'm happy to get the win. Go to 3-3. I'm only a game out, and I'm still 10 points above Silly Dilly in the points for. So
Yeah, that kept you in the playoff hunt, getting that one, so it was a good win for you there. All right, let's move on to the next score, which is the Underdogs 151, Orlando City FC 123. So that sound we heard last weekend was Aaron crashing back to earth after scoring 210 points the week before. And this week, the Underdogs took the top honor in scoring. So, Mike, start us off.
Yeah, the difference between Aaron last week and Aaron this week was about F&G. So, that's a pretty big fall.
about F&G.
But, I like looking at the Underdogs lineup here and seeing the old Dak and CeeDee Lamb stack. I like seeing it as a Cowboys fan. There's a lot of points scored. That's pretty nice for them. I think going into the season, that was one of those stacks that was pretty valuable. People were kind of eyeing it. They got it together, and it's working out pretty well for them. I'm keeping up with the quick theme because I keep talking about their teams, apparently. Najee Harris doing it again. The Steelers did not look great. They won, obviously. Did not look great, though. And 24 carries, 7 more targets. I mean, fantastic pick. Now, you can talk about that he's already 23 and a rookie all you want, but in a first-round pick, nailed it. Our league specific, it's nice to see Bryan Edwards in the starting lineup for once instead of getting traded around and just benched all over the place. However, I'm going to correct myself on one thing, or contradict myself. Zach Moss may have outsnapped Singletary, but did not do as well on the stat sheets. So maybe Humphrey was right splitting them up. Instead of him being miserable twice, 2 people can be miserable every single week. So.
Well, the Orlando City Football Club had to deal with some major injuries in their running back room this week. Chubb went down early, didn't even get put in the starting lineup, and Kareem Hunt went down, I think, in the 3rd or 4th quarter, right, with a hamstring issue. That is a lot to take over to make up for when you are banking on them guys being RB1s in the same on the same team. But he did score 210 points last week. He didn't score that much this week, but he did have a pretty darn good score considering 132 points. Josh Allen came out winging the freaking football all over the place. I don't know. If I were to do a redraft league again, I had the number 1 pick in a super flex league, and I took Patrick Mahomes. But I definitely considered taking Josh Allen, and I think I made the wrong decision taking Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen proved everybody wrong. We're all asking, was last year a fluke? The last few weeks, Josh Allen has put to bed if last year was a fluke. No, this is Josh Allen. This is how we play football. And I think even they got the loss they should have kicked the field goal at the end, but that's besides the point.
As the local Mahomes owner, I want to say he's quarterback 1 on the season still. So.
Okay.
Is that true? I mean,
Josh Allen
that say? He's the 1?
Quarterback 2 right now.
Quarterback 2 right now. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I think
who is 1? Is that my guy, Kyler?
It's Mahomes.
Oh, Mahomes is the 1.
Yeah.
I thought you said it was 2, but I think you cut out a little bit on me.
I think A-Bomb is enjoying the revigorated Baltimore team with Mark Andrews just taking up the helm right now. He's on fire right now. Where is Kellen Winslow?
What?
Not Kellen Winslow. What the hell am I talking about? And on. All right. Go ahead, Mark.
I think the answer to that is prison, if I'm not mistaken. Or...
Yeah.
And actually, I think the Hunt injury was a calf, and it looks like he's going to miss about 6 weeks. They were afraid it might be the Achilles, but it wasn't the Achilles, but it was a really bad
Mm-hmm.
calf. I guess he pulled it. It was not just a strain. It was the actual full pull of the calf. So he's going to miss a good amount of time, unfortunately, for Aaron, who had just come off a 210-point matchup, and it's going to be tough now without Hunt in there. All right, let's move on to the next one. We've got Silly Dilly, 123, Goofy Jace, 112. So Dylan gets lucky again, catching Goofy on a week in which he decided to compete for the Miyagi instead of the win. Start us off, Mike.
Yeah, this one is the most ungoofy like week that I think we've seen from him. Now, this is.
So,
I didn't go back and look. Probably should have, but I mean, I can't remember a lower goofy score even from last year. So, yeah, Silly gets a little lucky again. I mean, for what Goofy paid for Hurts, he's the number 4 quarterback overall. Just so we know, but he only paid like a third and a fourth and a fifth for the number 4 quarterback overall. So not too bad. Terrible quarterback for your team, but great quarterback for your fantasy team. So not too bad there. But yeah, when you have some down weeks like Goofy had, Jamal Williams, Keenan Allen, Mike Evans, and Mike Williams all pretty much underperformed pretty drastically for him. Those are guys that have been fairly consistent throughout the weeks for him, and when they, lay some pretty big goose eggs, it's tough for him to come back and win a game like that. Oddly enough, his most consistent person right now is Antonio Brown, which everybody saw coming in week 1, I'm sure.
So Silly Dilly got carried by the running back that I traded him. Also, he got carried by Henry Ruggs, which both are on the Raiders team that didn't even have a head coach really this week, and they both did very well. Josh Jacobs had 14.7 points, and we saw that Ruggs had 17.2. But the overall workhorse for Silly Dilly's average winning score, it was Fournette, a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. It's okay, Silly. I know you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. It's all right. We won't accept you. We denied your application for fandom, but better luck next year.
no room on the bandwagon. Yeah, yeah. I thought you had more there, Sean, but if you're done, I'll go on.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that was definitely Mike a low scoring week for Goofy Jace. Not normal for him. Plus Ridley was on bye, so yeah, a lot of things going wrong for him that week. So all right, moving on.
I think the big story during this matchup is not what Silly did, but how underperforming Goofy did, and that was really what did it. I think if Silly played half of us, he would have lost and been 3-3. But he's 4-2 because he plays everybody on their down week.
Chat's going to be fun this week, man. Can't wait till after Silly Dilly hears the show. All right, let's move on to the last score from last week, which was the Pooh Crew 136, FNG 96. So I'm going to treat this like the episode of The Office where Dwight's aunt dies. There was a game here between two managers, and one of those managers scored more points than the other. Start us off, Mike.
Yeah, I think when you're looking at this kind of matchup, really the important thing isn't necessarily how many points Ian has scored, which is lower than his usual. I think that the big thing is that Ian has not gotten his quarterback right any week. So when you're looking at a team like Ian's, he's expecting to win the championship, make a deep playoff run at least. You got to get that quarterback right. Herbert with 11 this week. Aaron Rodgers with 23.7. So I think last week he got it pretty wrong too. It cost him a win last week against me if he played the right quarterback then. Obviously didn't cost him a win this week, but oof, you gotta do better than that, Ian. You gotta do better than that. So you may have gotten the win on paper, but who really won the day? That's what we're all wondering.
Over on FNG's side, he had a slight downslide of Lamar Jackson. He only got 11.7 points, and he's been on a tear the last few weeks. And I know FNG needs him to come through big time for him to even have a chance. But he did have a couple really good overachievers in AJ Green. He got 16.4 points. He was only slated to get 7.5. And he had an overachiever in Marvin Jones, which is kind of, I'm not afraid to say, the favorite target of not Trevor Lawrence.
You got it.
Trevor Lawrence. All right, I was questioning myself again. He got 19.5 points. Real nice for an old wide receiver that probably a lot of us were saying was washed up coming into this season, but he's having a rejuvenation of his career in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence. The thing that really hurts FNG is the lack of play of Rager. He's probably was looking at Rager as a piece that he could move forward with, but if Hurts is running the ball all over the place, he's not throwing the ball all over the place, and if he is throwing it, he's throwing it to Smith, and Rager just gets 3 targets like he did last week. And Rainfor, he gets the targets, but he needs to catch the targets to be fantasy relevant. I think he's more of a piece for the football team and not fantasy relevant, if that makes sense. He gets catches when the team needs him to make catches, but he doesn't get so many targets that it outweighs being touchdown dependent. If he gets like 8 or 9 targets, that's a lot of points, and he might be flex worthy. But last week he didn't have a very good day.
So I haven't looked at the our NAO website lately that Ian keeps up, but I know that last year he was keeping like the metric for most efficient managers, like getting the most out of their lineup every week, and I bet he's pretty low in that if he's keeping it this year. I'm gonna go on there after the show and take a look.
That's why he's not doing it.
Might be pretty low. I was pretty good in that last year, but of course I think half of that was because I had so many injuries. I only had so many guys I could start. Fortunately, they were guys that were scoring. So, but yeah, I want to see how Ian's doing in that, because you brought up a good point, Mike. He might not be doing too well in that metric. So, be looking at that after the show. So, let's go on to the Mr. Miyagi ass waxing of the week, which goes to our newest and best friend, FNG. So, he gave me a little statement.
Oh, that's nice of him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He wanted to say a few words. He's honored to get this. So he said,
I'm glad that he's a fan for the show.
Yeah. Oh, he's a big fan. He says, call me when I don't win the Miyagi, and then I'll make a speech. How about that?
Sounds fair.
So we'll be sure to do that, FNG.
Maybe next year.
All right, let's move on to trades, guys. We've got 3 trades to talk about tonight, and I'll get right to them. So we got one between Silly Dilly and the Fresh Prince. Silly Dilly receives Devante Booker, Van Jefferson, a 2023 second rounder, which was his own pick. So he got his own second rounder back from 2023, and a 2022 first rounder, which was Aaron's pick from Orlando City FC. Fresh Prince receives in return for all of that Devante Smith. Sean, this is your trade. I'll let you start off if you'd like, sir.
All right. Obviously, I was pretty high on Devante Smith, and he kind of goes with my game plan and what I'm trying to build as a core for my flex plays. Uh, I think when I was putting it through, I knew that Silly Dilly was high on him, and he was looking for the future for him. So I was gonna have to bring the big guns to get him if I wanted him, and I got it all the way down to Van Jefferson, the second and the first, and I offered that up, and he said, "Well, I'm high on him, and not saying that it wouldn't happen." And then I looked at his roster, and I saw that he might need a running back to play that week, and I added Devontae Booker, and boom goes Dynamite.
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think this one could be a toss-up. This is one I think we're going to have to wait a little bit to actually declare a true winner on. I know what Sean's doing with his team because, like you said, now you got some really good young wide receivers. Seems like Devante Smith's going to hit that 525-yard rookie threshold, so probably good to go with him in the future. I think I know what Silly drafted Smith mid-late, I think, in the first this year. Got that back with Aaron's pick plus a little bit of extra, so if you look at it just that way, Silly makes out pretty good there. I think Van Jefferson's going to be pretty okay going forward. It's more of a next year play. I think this one, I think both sides make out pretty good. I think throwing in Booker to make up the difference for him. You got to win this week with him, so he Silly wins in the immediate short term, obviously. But I think this is one that we're gonna have to see what happens with those draft picks and how they pan out. But I think that you did well on your side, and Silly did pretty well on his side. So bingo bango, as they say.
Yeah, I like it for both sides. Sean got his guy, and that's always good. If it might be. I say it is a little more than I would have paid to get Devonte Smith, but you're high on him and you got him, and I'm always happy when someone gets their guy. I just hope it works out for him. Silly Dilly got Van Jefferson, who I'm high on. I think he's had some good moments already this season. They might not have Robert Woods there next season, and Jefferson may elevate to that number 2 spot along with Cooper Kupp. So I like him as an upside guy. And the draft capital is always good. A second rounder in 2023, a first rounder in 2022. Aaron, if he does what we think he can do, it may not be the highest pick, but hey, it's a first round pick. So I like what Dilly got in return. So really calling this one kind of even, and anxious to see how it comes out in the future. They always look different when we look through the lens of the future. So
There hasn't been very many top end rookie wide receivers being moved in their rookie year, so it was kind of difficult for me to come up with what the baseline trade was. So there's a lot of going back and forth with what I was willing to give up, what I should give up, what he's worth, sort of thing. So I'm happy with what I gave up. I just hope he turns out to be the guy I want him to be, obviously.
who knew that Booker waiver pickup was going to turn into something?
That's two.
Put you over the top, man. All right, let's move on to the next trade, which was between myself and my co-host, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So I got Tim Patrick in return for Melvin Gordon and Jarrett McKinnon. Start us off, Mike, as the impartial party here.
As the impartial third party here, I'm gonna give it an actual winner and loser on this one because I feel like I feel like one side kind of won out a little bit, and I'm gonna give it to Mark and Tim Patrick, and and I'm a little shocked at this one. I'm a little shocked at this one, especially coming from Sean shoring up the flex. Tim Patrick is a 12-point guy every week, in and out. Timmy 12 points. You got Teddy 2 Glove and Timmy 12 points. And that's the most consistent flex guy out there right now. And you picked him up on waivers. It's an interesting one. I know he's a little older, but and you got some. Melvin Gordon's certainly not bad this year, but 28. Williams is going up right behind him. I'm giving it to Mark on this one. I'm sorry.
Tell him why he's wrong, Sean.
I'm going to tell you why you're wrong for two reasons. A, Jerry Judy's about to come back, and Tim Patrick's going to be irrelevant. And two, I made the move to become a little more, little stronger at running back, because later down the road, I won't have anybody to play for the bye weeks for my two guys. Right now, if they're injured, I have their backups, but on bye weeks, I will have no play at running back. So it was more of a give up what I got now to make up for later type deal. Tim Patrick, I totally agree. If you're looking to shore up that flex, trademark pending, Patrick is a great piece to move, and I was just trying to play a little long ball before I knew Mark needed a piece, and I think it was one of the quicker deals we've done.
Yeah, it was. He came. I mean, it was sort of like a, hey man, you want to do this trade? And I was like, oh, all right, whatever, let's do it. So, yeah, with me, I kind of thought Gordon might be the first half of the season leader, and kind of give it over to Devante later, with whether it was through injury or Devante just kind of coming on strong. But man, that's been just a total split in that backfield. So I'm like, well, I'm not losing anything. I got the same guy on my roster, so let me give him Gordon, and I'll keep Devante, who's my younger draft capital kind of guy. McKinnon was more of a throw in just because you lost CEH, you already had Darrell Williams, so now you got the backup to the backup. So kind of a good trade for both of us. Yeah, definitely showing up the flex, but I kind of know that I could be getting like a 2-3 game rental out of Patrick, and once Judy gets back, things might change there. But Patrick is solid. If anybody goes down in that offense, Patrick always jumps right up in there, man. So yeah, I picked him up in our redraft too, so I'm high on him, and I was glad to get him, and he kind of helped me get the win this week. So good trade for both of us, I think. We'll
One last point on Gordon. He's kind of he just get me through the year, because hopefully next year, with everything going right, I'll be looking at 3 top end running backs also.
Yeah.
With Cam coming off IR.
Yeah. Now Gordon's not a bad one to have. He's still got a little bit of juice there. It's just such a damn timeshare, so kind of tough to. I mean, I got him in my starting lineup coming up this week, and it's just, is he going to have the game or not? Or is it going to be another 50-50 kind of thing? Sort of like whoever gets the touchdown has the better week.
Yeah.
Because they're both going to get the same amount of carries. So. And targets. I mean, last week I think they both each had 3 targets. It's like right down it's almost like they're keeping a little tally going on the sideline. Oh, wait, Melvin needs another target because Javante's got 3. We got to get Melvin one more. So, yeah, it's kind of funny. All right, let's move on to our last trade, which was between the Underdogs and Orlando City FC. So the Underdogs get KJ Osborne in a 2022 third round, which was Aaron's pick. Orlando City FC gets Devante Parker, Dearnest Johnson, and a 2023 fourth rounder, which was Aaron's pick. So this was funny to me because that they made one of those deals where Brandon said, hey, throw in a future fourth rounder and we got a deal. And they did it, but Aaron got it back. So he got the last. Start us off, Mike.
Yeah, it's a classic throw in your fourth, because that probably was the last piece of it. But looking at it from Aaron's side, it seems like a trade of necessity of anything. Obviously, we talked about Chubb, we talked about Hunt. He has Felton, I believe, as well. So now he has Felton and Johnson. So he can slide them right into those open spots. and kind of see what pans out there. Devante Parker is fairly consistent as well, so not a bad guy to pick up. He's obviously not going to be doing it for terribly much longer, which brings you to KJ Osborne, who's pretty up and coming. I think Thielen's there, obviously Jefferson's there, so Osborne's not going to flash too much, but he's doing okay actually. I think he would have been a guy that I think Aaron would have otherwise liked to have kept on his roster, but like I said, kind of a trade of necessity. So it works for both sides, I think, just because Aaron sort of had to on this one.
Yeah, I think Osborne is kind of like the equivalent of Gallup in Dallas. There's too many mouths to feed, and he's the last one to eat at the trough, as they say. I think I think he would be a lot better on a different team that would use him more readily. But I like this move for Orlando City FC. Obviously, like y'all said, uh, he's down on some running backs in Cleveland, and who knows who's going to be the guy. We're all thinking it's going to be Johnson. He made the move to get him. He needed him, and he went out and got him. Parker's not a bad little flex in play if he needs to swap a guy in on matchups or bye weeks. So moving down the line, he could be a pretty good piece to swap in and out too.
Yeah, pretty even trade, I think, because the underdogs got. I think they picked up Johnson on waivers, and they traded a guy who might get 1 or 2 games in there. Devante Parker, who's good, but struggles with injuries off and on. And they got KJ, which is a good younger guy, and kind of a future move. Thielen definitely getting long in the tooth, and if it's not this season, maybe next season would be his last there. So looking at the guy who might climb up to the number 2 there in Minnesota, and so good future move for them, and didn't give up too much to get there. Got that 3rd rounder as a kicker, and just good move for Aaron to get the backup to his guys. So looks good all the way around. Kind of you look at it on the surface, it's kind of like not much of a trade there, but made sense for both sides, and one of those where I think it's good for both of them. So. All right, you guys want to move on to the matchups for next week? We got rivalry week.
Ooh, buy a get-in for me. Let's go.
Yeah, by apocalypse, right? By apocalypse. All right, I'm going to start off with the marquee mark matchup of the week, which I gave to Swamp Dick versus the underdogs.
Ooh,
So I'm
good
looking
one.
at this. Yeah, looking at this, and big for playoff implications in the league. Swamp Dick came up short last week in his matchup with you, Sean, to stay in the playoff hunt. So a big one for him. Underdogs got their 2nd win, and they got to keep on moving up if they want to stay in the hunt. So I'm looking at it where the Cowboys' bye looks to be tough for the underdogs. Swamp Dick seems to be in pretty good shape. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think Swamp Dick's looking pretty good on his buys right now, actually. Some of us did escape the Week 7 nonsense going on, and me and Mr. Dick, we get to hang out a little bit, take it a little easy.
Mr. Dick.
I think
on his name.
I think I would be slamming Stafford into that revenge game against Detroit right now. Oh man, that is going to be put that one on TV because I want to watch that one. I don't think Stafford has any animosity toward Detroit. They did him right on the way out for sure, but I think he wants to go in there and be like, look at what you could have had, this whole time. So obviously Derrick Henry going to score 40 points. Move on from there. And I think the big thing for him is going to be, was the Kyle Pitts trade worth it? He had one big game, but it was only one so far. Ridley wasn't there. Let's see what goes on. I think he's right. I think Pitts is going to be the guy, but I think he's going to be watching that one pretty close too.
Yeah, I think over here on the DB side, they're going to need their guys just to perform because this week they're not going to be able to bank on 31 points from CD Lamb with Dallas being on bye. And they need A.J. Brown to come out and actually be A.J. Brown this year for them to be close because you got to think they got to make up 40 points with Derrick Henry still being alive and having a heartbeat. So if he's on the field, you can pretty much chalk him up for 30 plus points a week. And I think a unsung hero of the DBs, if they do pull it off against Mr. Swamp Dick, is going to be Bateman. I think he's been out targeting Hollywood Brown, and that's gonna definitely have to happen. They're gonna need a big game from him. It being his second game back from injury, I think that's gonna be one of the deciding factors. They're gonna need to be able to lean on some of these younger guys that they blow up earlier than later.
Gonna be a tough week for the underdog because they're both Tennessee Titans fans. So every time Henry does something good, they're gonna be like, yeah, shit, you know.
I will give my pick of the week. It's going to be Mr. Dick this week, getting the W.
Trying to curse him so he'll lose and fall further back, and you can jump
No,
him.
I really hope he wins, actually.
Because everybody you pick does shit, man. I told
Hey, you won last week, all right?
I know.
I don't want to hear it.
But I told you that was the last one. If I lost, I was going to tell you to stop picking my ass. You did it to the underdogs last year too.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, they're probably loving it. All right, he picked Ricky, man. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. Yeah, this one in rivalry week, it's an actually pretty good rivalry. They're best of friends, but they talk a lot of junk to each other. So it's kind of this is a fun one, man. It's this one. I hope it's a close one and a fun one for everybody.
All right, totally going off script. I about died in my office today seeing that picture of Mr. Dick spanking the baby of freaking Evan. Golly, I was dying. It was so funny. That is the stuff this league is freaking known for, and that's why it's it is my favorite league to be in because you see those random things come across the chat, and it just gets you.
Yeah. Yeah, they were trading some good ones today with the Photoshop kind of stuff. That was fun. I love it too, man.
It's a 99-cent app.
Yeah, 99 cents. We ought to look into that, man. We could have some fun.
Best 99 cents he's ever spent in his life, I bet.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here to the next matchup between Silly Dilly and Orlando City Football Club. So, Josh Allen on bye. Chubb and Hunt are out for Aaron, and somehow he's still starting two Cleveland running backs. So, this is an interesting one. Another time where Dilly seems to be catching somebody on the right week. Mike, start us off on this one.
Yeah, this is some bullshit, is what this is. Silly comes
Tell us
in.
why it's bullshit, Tank Top Mike.
Silly comes in this one against Aaron. Man, the bye weeks really got Aaron. The injuries really got Aaron. His team is basically just Devante Adams, Tyreek Hill, and Mark Andrews at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to score. You got to get 80 points out of those three guys at this point. I mean, obviously Brandon Cooks has the upside, whatever. But those three guys, they have to go off for Aaron to have a chance here. And I'm standing in a little bit of solidarity here with Aaron because I'm starting Felton in another league as well. But with him also starting Johnson, both tomorrow night, I think we're going to see kind of what this week has in store for Aaron at the end of Thursday. Because if they come out and this basically isn't even the same Cleveland team as it was last week, really. So who knows what's going on there? But so Thursday night's going to be a big one for Aaron, and then those three guys have to anchor a win for him. So I hope it happens, though. It'd be a fantastic story.
Well, for Silly Dilly to pull out another marvelous win this week against the Orlando City Football Club, he's going to need my Tampa Bay Buccaneers to carry him to another victory. And if that doesn't happen, which it probably will, because come on, we're talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But the other players looking down his lineup are not exciting. Like OBJ, he hasn't done poop for poop. And Tyler Lockett, he's kind of a hit or miss guy. And Julio Jones played last week and he got hurt again. Shocked. And then he needs his RB2 to actually be maybe an RB2 and not a RB4 right now. So maybe we can all pray that Orlando City Football Club has started the right running back in Cleveland. Oh, wait, he's starting all the running backs in Cleveland, so he's got to be right? I would love to see Orlando City come out with a victory.
Yeah. This one's not too much of a rivalry, really. I think we may have to switch this one up and have Silly Dilly going against Take Top Mike to make this a better rivalry next year. But yeah, we said it before they started having their rivalry, so we'll get that corrected next year. But yeah, it could go either way. Jones definitely could be a game time decision. I don't think OBJ is going to play. I think the thing I saw today said that he got like a grade 3 labrum and probably needs a few weeks of rest. It's tough for a wide receiver because you gotta raise your hands to catch the ball, and you get tackled on it, and you might separate it. So yeah, I don't know if he'll be in there at all. What are you talking about there? Making hand signals over there, dipshit. What is that?
I got so many words I want to say about OBJ right now. We only have so much time.
All right. So yeah, he may be pivoting. Your favorite word, Sean. He may be pivoting off of Jones and OBJ, and who knows what he's going to have in there. So could be two guys that are putting in their scrubs to see who scrubs are better than the others. So it should be a good one. All right, we're going to move on to Tank Top Mike versus FNG. So this one's funny to me because FNG is starting one backup running back in Salvon Ahmed and another that's drawing Social Security in Ingram, Mark Ingram. So I like your chances, Mike, just based on his running backs. What do you think?
Well, I am also short a running back this week as well, and Eckler's on the bye. So my record with running backs on a bye week is 0-1. So that's a stat. Can't deny that stat.
Facts is facts.
I gave it to Ian. So for fair play, this is one where I'm just kind of making sure I'm starting the right lineups. I want to make sure, especially with some of these bye weeks going on, I got to get it right, and I got to make sure that I can pick those guys right, because like we've talked about, this is going to be points for probably in your playoff seeding or potentially if you're in or out of the playoffs. So, sure, I might be, a 50-point favorite on FNG. If that's all aside this week, I got to score the most points. So who knows if I'm done with my lineup right now, because there's a lot to think about. But, that's what it's going to come down to for me.
Yeah, FNG is going to be sledding uphill, as they say, this week. But we'll see. I mean, crazier things have happened. He did get a win against somebody on this show. So we'll see what happens. We'll talk about it next week. Tune in.
Can't wait till he beats your ass, damn it.
Shit, he could.
Yes, sir. All right, let's move on to the next one. As far as a rivalry, it's not much one there. So we got to get.
I tried to be his rival, but he's never in chat. I said a lot of kind of mean things about him.
Yeah,
and then he never showed up.
he's a little too nice for his own good. So it's going to be hard to find him a rival. But we'll get you and Silly Dilly next year together for sure, and we'll just try to get something started between him and Aaron. We'll we'll just like make up some shit, and we'll stir the pot. There you go. And we'll try to get that going. All right.
Yo,
Next
Abe,
one.
I heard he was talking about your mama.
Yo, mama. All right, let's go on to the next one here. That is the Tough Luck Kid going up against Goofy Jace. So I'm looking at this one and thinking that buys and injuries for Goofy may give me a chance in this one. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, really, that's kind of the story. Unfortunately, rivalry week is in week 7, so they could. This is actually a pretty good rivalry, I think, on paper. Both these teams are fairly evenly matched this week. I think you got some pretty good matchups. Kyler Murray in Houston, their defense has been playing actually better than projected. So it's not like the old school, play against Cleveland because it's a gimme kind of thing. But, it's a fairly good matchup. I know you're keeping a pretty good eye on Scary Terry going into this week. There's been some news about him. He's, the unfortunate questionable tag. But, I think what's going to win you this week is 12 points from Tim Patrick. I think you're going to win by 12 points, and it's those.
Well, I think Goofy is going to need every point to win. He's not going to win this by a landslide if he does win. It's going to come down to the very last play of each of your teams to decide who wins this one. If you have not picked your marquee mark matchup, I would definitely throw this one into the hat because this is going to come down to the littlest things. Maybe a guy not catching the football, maybe a fumble for a loss, somebody just blowing it up and not doing what they're supposed to. It's going to be fun to watch this matchup between you two.
Yeah, Antonio Brown popped up on the injury report with an ankle. I'm not really sure how severe it is. He to me, he was looking good. I'm getting tired of seeing it because I got Godwin and want him to be irrelevant. I keep seeing Antonio Brown over there doing jumping jacks on the sideline like he's ready to rule the world, but he popped up with an ankle, so we'll see how bad that is. I don't think he's got Gronk in there now, and I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he'll be playing. Yeah, so that's why I say maybe between the injuries and the buys that he has, I might be able to do a little something. Should be a good matchup. The rivalry here is, we work together. There's not much of a rivalry between us, but we do work in the same building. So it does make it fun for talking junk to each other. So I guess that one's not too bad. That one's not too bad of a rivalry, but we'll see what happens there. All right, let's go on to our last matchup of the week in rivalry week, which is the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air versus the Pooh Crew. So, Sean, your buys make me think that we'll push rivalry week back a little bit next season and try to do it before the buys. You start us off since this is your matchup.
Well, I don't know who made this lineup or this schedule, but it definitely is benefiting somebody in this league. I'm staring down having to start Darius Slayton, which is a question mark, and Peoples-Jones. I hope he does okay. Week, it's gonna be rough. It's just gonna be rough. We'll see.
How much to say there?
Yeah, unfortunately for me inside, his bye weeks did not look so bad. I think he has to drop out Dalvin Cook, which is fine really because he has a true running back one in Chase Edmonds. This is going to be a phenomenal game from Edmonds because how good he is. Clearly, we've all heard about it all season, and now we get to see it in action. So here we go.
Yeah. We got it all forced down our throats in every trade option. with him, but yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, somehow Ian also benefited pretty well from the bye weeks. So I think he's looking for points scored as well. And I this one's going to be tough for you.
It is a little bit questionable that he made the schedule and picked this week for rivalry week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Collusion.
Your Donovan Peoples-Jones would be a lot more attractive if it wasn't for looks like it's going to be a weather game. They've had some horrible weather, in some of those Cleveland games last season. So shaping up to be a bad weather game tomorrow. But and you got the backup quarterback playing. So couldn't be much worse. Couldn't be much worse for you. Yeah, just shovel it on, right?
I don't have much to lose, I
Honestly,
guess.
I think if
I
you
don't
want
have
some
any other
advice,
option, so
if you want some
hopefully this
advice
works out.
here, I think Justin Jefferson might actually score more points than some of these guys this week. So.
Yeah, and he's staying at home on his nice couch and watching football from a television. Yeah.
Good point on Chase Edmonds, though. I mean, clearly he's the goal line back, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he's getting all the goal line carries. He's, and it just carries in general. He's getting a lot of carries and 3 down back.
James Conner isn't on that team at all.
Red zone guy, yeah, he's definitely the RB1 for sure. Clear cut right there. That should be
Clear as day, as they say.
smash play, man. So doesn't have Cook in there, but he gets to put the next best thing in Chase Edmonds in there. So.
The next best thing, the Cook.
This is a true rivalry, though. What I love about this rivalry is that we hadn't gotten 20 minutes in the chat when I think it was Sean that declared that he was going to be your nemesis. Wasn't it you, or was it Steele that?
Yep.
Yeah.
I just picked him off because he said something stupid, as he always does.
And it was like,
I'm gonna be your rival.
It's like, it's going to be like that. Yeah, we're going to be nemesis here. So,
because if there's anything you can bank on, like the sun coming up, it's Ian saying something stupid in the chat.
Oh yeah. Death, taxes, and Ian saying some stupid shit.
Amen, brother. Amen. Well, that's the end of our Week 6 in review and our little look forward into Week 7. Come back next week to find out that I made it! I got the rivalry week win over Pooh Crew and all his RB1 bullshit. And this has never been more true. Ian, you suck.